Holding on by a thread, Melania ignores Donald as he tries to grab her thumb on arrival in Florida amid Playboy playmate claims that she bedded the president 3 months after First Lady gave birth to Barron. After Melania boarded Air Force One alone to head to Florida to meet massacre victims, the Trumps put on a united front as they exited the aircraft, but the First Lady ignored the president's attempt at some PDA. As Donald and Melania declined, the president was seen searching for her hand, but he only managed to grab a thumb for a split second. And on reaching the bottom of the jet's rolling staircase, Melania swiftly walked around the SUV waiting on the tarmac, before they were whisked away. The couple are in Florida to meet victims and first responders of the school shooting by Nicholas Cruz, 19, which killed 17 and injured 12. The icy interaction follows a Friday report of an interview with a Playboy playmate alleging she had an affair with a not-yet-President Trump in 2006. She is the second woman to make such a claim against the newly wedded Donald within 2006. The flight started off equally cold, as the First Lady broke with tradition when she unexpectedly arrived at and boarded Air Force One on Friday in D.C. without her husband. An advisory had the President and First Lady departing the White House and flying to Palm Beach together. As journalists were waiting on the South Lawn for their Marine One departure, a reporter on the plane said that Melania had not only arrived at Joint Base Andrews, but she was already on the government aircraft awaiting takeoff. President Trump walked out of the Oval Office alone a few minutes later and boarded his helicopter without stopping to speak to the press. Earlier today, a bombshell account from a Playboy playmate who claims that she had a year-long affair with President Trump appeared in The New Yorker. Karen McDougal says the real estate sign used his money and power to get her in bed and then ensure her silence. McDougal says she and President Trump met back in 2006 at a party that was hosted by Hugh Hefner at the Playboy Mansion. President Trump took an immediate liking to her, she later wrote in her journal, noting that one of the magazine's marketing executives joked, "Wow, he was all over you. I think you could be his next wife." His third wife, Melania, was back in New York with the couple's 3-month-old child Barron at the time, and shortly after the party McDougal says she was invited to have dinner with President Trump in his private bungalow at the Beverly Hills Hotel. McDougal wrote that the meeting culminated with the pair's first sexual encounter, and when they were done, Trump offered to give her money. "I looked at him, plus felt sad, plus said, 'No thanks, I'm not that girl. I slept with you because I like you, not for money. He told me you were special.'" McDougal, who was the Playmate of the Month for December 1997 and later Playmate of the Year for 1998, said she was drawn to Trump's personality above all else. "I was so nervous. I was into his intelligence plus charm. Such a polite man," she wrote in her journal. McDougal says she began to see Trump whenever he was in Los Angeles, which at the time was quite often due to his work on The Apprentice. It would always be at the same bungalow, and President Trump would always have the same meal, said McDougal, who was also quite impressed by the fact that he never drank alcohol. The affair soon moved out of the bungalow and into the real world, however, with McDougal claiming she met Trump's children, got a private tour of his New York City residence and began flying around the country so the two could be together. The affair would ultimately last 10 months, and it would be 10 years after it ended that McDougal would find herself silenced after signing a $150,000 deal with media company AMI, which is owned by President Trump's close friend David Pecker. One such event was the Lake Tahoe golf tournament, the same place where Trump allegedly began an affair with porn star Stormy Daniels that same year. McDougal claims that the relationship began to fall apart when Trump began making racially charged comments about her friendship with an African-American man. He would reportedly tell her that she liked the big black D***K. She also became increasingly concerned about what her mother would think of her lifestyle. In April 2007, after 10 months, she says she finally ended the affair. President Trump has denied the affair through a spokesperson, with the White House stating, "This is an old story that is just more fake news." The president says he never had a relationship with McDougal. McDougal, the 1998 Playmate of the Year and runner-up Playmate of the 90s, says she not only had the affair with Trump, She sold her story to the National Enquirer's publishing company. But the National Enquirer never published McDougal's allegations, and were using the contract to instead operate as and to ensure McDougal kept quiet about the affair, according to a report. The Wall Street Journal first broke that angle of the story around the time of the election after reviewing the details of her contract. McDougal and American Media Incorporated, which owns the National Enquirer, agreed to the transaction in early August, the Wall Street Journal reported. American Media Incorporated said in a statement the $150,000 was payment for exclusive life rights to any story related to a relationship McDougal may have had with a married man and for fitness columns written by her. The contract, according to the Wall Street Journal, kept McDougal from disclosing her story on other outlets and established damages of at least $150,000 if she shared her account elsewhere. But American Media Incorporated didn't plan on publishing the story, even though McDougal expected it to run, people familiar with the situation told the Wall Street Journal. AMI has not paid people to kill damaging stories about Mr. Trump, the company said in this statement. Meanwhile, McDougal admits she's nervous about finally sharing her story but says she was inspired to come forward after Stormy Daniels made her affair public. She said she hopes to use her story to inspire other women to think before signing agreements that could force them into silence. The National Enquirer has supported Trump throughout the presidential campaign. American Media Inc. CEO David Pecker told the Wall Street Journal in a statement it was known that he and Trump are friends. But he used the National Enquirer's coverage of Trump's affair with Marla Maples when he was married to his first wife Ivana was a proof of the publication's independence. McDougal told several friends that she had a relationship with Trump lasting about 10 months, people familiar with her account said.